competitive background.
Now on the blue side, Jenna, it felt like barring Chaser, they got everything they wanted to opt into in Game 1 and lost so comprehensively. So how can they engineer a draft that deals with SKT better than the one in Game 1? So far, SKT happy to go with the same bans as Nidalee banned away instantly. Chaser 2-0 on that champion in that series against CJ Enters. Hasn't seen Nidalee since.
So, speaking of bans that were in the draft last time, there is the Victor. I think you have to take that away. Now, the Kalista comes through. Last ban, will it be the Rise? Of course, SKT banning Rise on the blue side, not wanting to first pick it.
You just know if they get Trace onto Rise, they're going to go with the Rumble, I think, for Marin and try and play around the Rise as much as possible. That was how we saw success found 2 days ago, as Najin were happy to let KT pick up the Rise and then just played around it, rotated around it, and never reached that late game power spike where Rise was relevant. Alistair's the last ban on the blue side. The big question, will SKT ban the Rise or leave it up?
Yeah, the Rise, but also remember, Rek'Sai, they didn't want Chaser to be on probably his best champion in the last game. They could go that route again and force the Rise or the Gragas, of course. Again, Marin has played the Rise time and time again, and I think the Rek'Sai, the smarter choice. You want to take out Chaser's best champion, and now the Rise is yours if you want it.
It's not like Gragas falls a long way behind. Chaser hasn't got his hand on Gragas very often. 2-0, 11.7 KDA. It's going to give up the Rise if Marin wants it, and that's a big if. We're not sure if they're going to prioritize this champion, even though we're still on patch 5.11, and he's still really powerful.
And super strong, of course. They would have to play, especially Bengi, more around Marin to keep him safe and maybe pick up some early kills in this next game. Of course, Bengi's just going to be comfortable on Nunu or on Evelynn or whatever he really wants right now. They have the last pick. I'm really hoping to see some Faker Echo. I got to say, Papa Smithy, that's what I want to see. I was waiting when I saw Echo's kit when Riot first announced him. I said, this is a champion that I need to see Faker play, and I want to see him play it so badly before the 5-12 nerfs.
The other Zed and Assassin Masters like Dade have got their hands on the champion. Rookie has obviously done wonderful things over in the LPL on the Echo, but I think we're all waiting with bated breath to see if Faker finally pull it out. Red side last pick, one of the best spots for it.
Yeah, absolutely. So expected picks from SK Telecom. And now Jin Air, they could take the Sivir. Absolutely, they can take Sivir Rumble here. That would set them up nicely in terms of power picks in this meta. A lot of skirmishing ability. And almost certainly those will be the selections. Trace is just Rumble only this season. Remember, Bang, he actually has been playing a lot of Tristana. He's #1 and #2 in Korean solo queue at the moment. And Trist is within one of those big picks. And SK Telecom, with the way they play the map, those fast pushes from Tristana can be highly useful.
Strange to combat a fast push AD carry and complement it with a slow scaler in Rise. Can they play around, turrets falling and rotating the Rise to safe places to farm? Not sure if they have innate synergy between the two, but I think Tristana is underrated in this meta. She's basically the super Jinx at this present point after Jinx was really toned down in the early game. Faker's thinking about a new mid pick, but probably not going to be the Soraka mid. But we would have said the same thing about Yi.
Or support. Who knows? No, Janna, the very safe pick to amp up Tristana's damage, provide that peel for the backline. They still don't have the greatest engage, reliant on Bengi's flanks so far. And that'll be maybe Kennen support, probably going to be the Kennen support. That's something that Wolf and Bang really innovated with Kalista, and they're going to try it again. Harass lane for sure.
You ever get stunned, and of course, access to CC at level 2 if you get the right rotation of spells off on Kennen. With just the auto-attack trait damage from Tristana, there's surprising 2v2 kill pressure if it is going to be the Kennen Tristana. Of course, we're not completely discounting the possibility of Kennen mid.
Yeah, blind picking the Kennen mid, though. I mean, who knows anymore what Faker's going to pick? I honestly can't say with any certainty, and I doubt anybody in the world can. So what will Chase select? A lot of times you do see Morgana to deal with Kennen stacking stuns. To shut that down, could pick something very tanky like Leona. We haven't seen Leona in a while.
I gotta say, this SKT lineup, not the worst lineup to play Master Yi with.
Absolutely true. Actually, a very good lineup to play Master Yi with. You get to those double resets with Yi and Tristana. Azir and Nautilus, the final picks, much more meta composition for Jin Air this game.
So returning to the Azir, already a win on this champion, already mentioned. 4-0 in competitive play. Cassio, Azir, LeBlanc, Lissandra. Where do they want to go with their mid lane pick? In fact, it's going to be mid lane Rise. He has this in his match history. Has been trying it out. In the mid lane, not sure if it's quite as powerful as in top, but gonna opt into it anyway.
And he's going to go Ghost Flash also. So high mobility in team fights. Of course, the way you used to play Rise very frequently in mid before the Rise rework. And I'm curious how Faker's going to do on this champion, especially against Azir, who has that large amount of poke in the early game. Faker going to have to play a bit more passively here. Marin once more onto the Maokai. He's now 19-1 in his career on that pickup.
Eminently gankable lane Rise in terms of both ganking him with his low base stats and ganking for him with his instant cast CC. That's one thing that wasn't changed in the big Rise rework. Eve does good early damage. Kuzan does opt into the barrier though, so has the defensive option. It's quite maneuverable on Azir. How do you get around the fact that this is just a weaker laning matchup for Faker than we usually see when it comes to his picks?
True, but that said, SK Telecom, they can afford to have the weaker laning phase when their late game power is extraordinary. Bang can play the janitor. When we see SK Telecom play Tristana in the past, they use Bang just as cleanup. I've seen Bang get pentakills on Tristana, but it's all just reset, reset, reset after the AoE comes through. Well, can they do it again, guys? We are going into Game 2, Jin Air versus SKT. This is the last, potentially I should say, last game of the first round robin this season, and we're going to take a look at our Korean casters right there, of course. Caster Jun, Kim Dong-jun, and Cloud Templar. And now Jin Air. They have a chance to take this to 3 games, certainly. They have a very good composition to do so, but should they lose, it will mean that SK Telecom has 2-0'd every other team in the top 6. And that is a level of dominance in this league that is, frankly, shocking.
Only dropping a single game to Samsung and Anarchist. We see some damage trading. There's actually multiple members from SKT. Remember, Faker can still Rune Prison at any time. Uses the Rune Prison. Chaser opens up a lot of distance. They can commit double flash here. Does Bengi have the damage? The Qs come through. One more Q auto will do it. The auto attack comes through, and SKT get first blood.
And that's the guy you want to shut down on Jin Air. Bengi with the first blood advantage now. He can chase around Chaser in his own jungle if he wants to with the extra gold. He's just going to go straight for the longsword. Chaser caught out early on the invade, and Faker doesn't even have to blow a summoner to get the Rune Prison. He does have to start W, but that's not going to be the worst thing in the universe.
Certainly not. The way this draft changed with the last pick, Maokai, warps things. So we were talking about the fact that fast push with Rise top didn't really seem like it makes sense. If they go for the fast push and it ends up isolating mid, whether that was from a lane swap that obviously hasn't happened, or just trying to push down turrets quickly, if that just isolates Faker to farm, things are going to be great for SKT.
Yeah. Kuzan just walked up right there. The W, not too much effect that's having. And I'm a bit surprised to see Wolf back on the support Kennen. Now, it's something that SKT did innovate, and we saw the Kennen Callisto lanes in a bunch of other regions after they got it. Bengi looking for a level 2 gank. He knows he has the damage right now. Faker still with 2 summoners. He's just going to go. Kuzan burning, burning, burning. Lower, lower, lower. Faker probably could have gotten that if he had flashed.
Yeah, the flash trade was obviously what Kuzan was looking to opt into, but so risky when the burst damage and almost 100% chance of hitting the following Q in an auto attack. Yeah. Still, that risk pays off. Doesn't have to use a summoner. And walks back to lane.
Yeah. And he does have the cleanse, too, so he probably could have gotten out of that, it's true. But, yeah, that's a nice little free farm there for Faker. Bengi now going for his blue buff after a jaunt through the mid lane.
So much lane presence coming through from Ken and Tristana. Both these targets free auto someone and hit their spells. We're talking about stuns, talking about massive burst damage coming through from the explosive shot. Really have to be on your toes against Cannon's support because he just has so much more ranged auto attack presence compared to a lot. Chay's going to take a nice burst of damage after opting into it with the dredge line.
Yeah, and that's the scary thing, like you're saying. If that stun goes down, it really just loads up the damage on the explosive shot. I'm really liking the concept behind this lane. Very powerful, for sure. Man. Kuzan already on his back foot. Faker just wanting to get some wards down.
Going for a nice walk.
A little stroll in the river.
He went on plenty of those in the previous game.
What's he doing? He's going to cue this. Are they actually going to dive this? He's going to get seen. Of course, Rumble vulnerable, and the wave is there, but the ward also detecting Faker.
It's a really good ward coming through. Very nice defensive ward. Chase is going to be called over. Faker's going to be back, and he probably has gold for that tier.
Yeah.
No, doesn't even have gold for the tier. That's awkward for Faker.
Yeah, definitely not the best back timing. He's going to lose a few minions on the turret. As a result of that move, they wanted to shut down Trace, but Jin with the smart ward there, thinking that they might dive Trace quickly in this game, and that's actually a very weird ward for Jin to have, especially against Evelynn, because it's not even on any of their camps. So that basically says that they think that either Wolf or Faker was going to be in the jungle for that dive. Definitely not something you would expect if you're going to make that roam right now as Ryze.
Yeah, if you, with Wolf in full display, expecting a Ryze to have lane control on an Azir with his lack of any sort of ranged wave push, especially until level 4 when he opts into putting into point into his E. Curious, but look, if there's one thing we can say about Trace, this guy is an excellent defensive laner. He very rarely dies during the laning phase. And once again, whether it's a smart adaptation or an on-the-fly call, we don't know, but it worked out really well.
Yeah, I'm just very surprised that that would be the choice made for a ward, but it definitely was smart and it definitely worked. It's not something that we see too terribly often.
Still going to be the W max in the mid lane, so still looking for perma-root effectively with the W.
Falling a little bit behind in CS, but to be expected in this matchup. Bengi loading up on wards as he hits that recall, and no real opportunities yet outside of that awkward level 1. And Jin catching back up in terms of gold, thanks a lot to the mid lane CS from Kuzan.
And Chaser losing his flash, man, he didn't even opt into walking around lanes, and he's built up a lot of experience. Level 5 already, actually out-leveling Bengi despite the first blood. Certainly doesn't have the items to compare, but he's used his time to farm.
Yeah, there we go. Chaser on the bottom side pops the Raptor buff to clear the ward as Bang and Wolf quite low. And having to be the first dual lane to recall. Trace gets caught out though. Marin here. There's an equalizer down. Trace trying to turn it around. He's backing up. He's overheated. He is going to kill Bengi. Can he get Marin too? He's in the minion line. No. The passive proc from Marin keeps him alive, but that's going to mean Jin gets a kill for a kill and a dragon, and there's nothing SKT can do.
A really nice pathing from the jungler. Also, they had that wave pushed in. We noted the fact that Bang and Wolf were low on bottom. That's actually a big win in terms of a trade. 1-for-1 when there was 2 members, including the jungler used, and a free dragon for Jin.
And yeah, I mean, sure, Marin got the kill there, so they equalized in terms of that gold. He's going to lose some CS. Trace doesn't have a teleport, so he's going to slowly make his way back into the top side, but definitely a nice pickup for Jin, looking more solid here in the early game. Faker has his tier now. Turning to lane, going to be going tier Catalyst as expected. Ryze, of course, that big 2 to 3 item power spike once he gets the stacks up.
Tier was delayed. I would have much preferred to have it around the 4.5, 5 minute mark, but it's more of a 7-minute tier, so that stacking just will be a little bit delayed. Of course, delay is the Saracen Embrace and always scaling a couple of minutes. Will that be a big factor? I guess if the second dragon goes down for Jin, maybe we'll be talking about yes, but still around 25 to 30 minutes, Ryze will be pretty superpowered.
Yes, he will. SKT, though, Ryze, not the best engager. fortunate that he doesn't have to have TP, so he can take Ghost here to help out SK Telecom's engage. That's a major factor. But Bengi has to hit those flanks so that Wolf can follow up with a flash slicing Maelstrom, and then the chase will be very good.
Bengi's here again, has Agony's Embrace, spotted by a nice pink ward. Trace often pink wards these lane brushes, even if he's not against an Evelynn, just for exclusive knowledge. Has the Equalizer up again, just came up as Bengi was moving between the second and third brush.
Oh, this could be good. He doesn't know, Bengi doesn't know that Chaser's there. He sees another pink ward. There's an there's explosive cast. Bengi's knocked into the wall. There's not enough follow-up damage, though. 2 ults used, but you can see how heavily Jin Air is trying to play around this Maokai and this Rumble in the top lane. Marin a little bit overextended. Marin has flash. He's going to have to use it, yes.
Ends up being a flash-for-flash trade as Chaser uses flash to try and get the angle on Evelynn. Free farm wars in the mid lane. Even though it's a slight CS advantage for Kuzan, you're still going to take that if you Rise.
Bang now having a bit of trouble here in bottom with Wolf. Captain Jack has accrued quite a CS advantage. It'll be turned around just a tad by this large wave that breaks on the Tier 1 turret, but look at the chip damage that Jin Air is getting already. Chipping out bottom, chipping out mid very effectively. And when the ganks have come in topside, they haven't worked. The pink wards are there, and they're being defended really well by Jin Air.
Without any extra lane pressure, Bang and Wolf have never had the free time with the enemy turret that they're looking for. Of course, throw down that explosive shot, rapid fire on your exploding turrets with Cannon's ranged auto attack. But defensively, Cannon pre-level 6 doesn't really offer very much for his carriers. Jin Air have rotated so many members around Marin.
And Marin, a bit toast right now, pops the ultimate. Trace comes out of the turret. No equalizer available, remember. Kuzan going to use the ultimate right there, but actually has to flash back out. Awkward, and Faker now ghosting up in top. He's stacked up. Chaser going to be the first target. There's just Rune Prison spam, and there is death for Chaser as SK Telecom turns around the gank. Not enough in terms of ultimates in top lane to commit to that. I'm not sure what happened with Kuzan's ultimate right there because it didn't push Marin away.
We'll have to see a replay. You can, of course, Twisted Advance through such, so maybe that was just a skillful play. Trace layers down the equalizer, looking for the turret dive onto him.
Faker actually just following through. Flash, there's a Rune Prison, there is a dead Trace. He keeps on going. There's Q. And the double kill for Faker. Already with a beautiful dive. Bang has to flash out of a hook, but that is not going to be a favorable trade for Jin Air. And we talked about Kuzan. He likes to roam. He likes to make these plays, but there simply wasn't enough damage to take down Maokai.
And while top lane Rise is eminently kiteable with the Ghost, he was just able to hit those extra spell rotations, get that last Rune Prison in, and make a massive play. Now Trace is teleported in. Smart. He knows Bengi's in the area. Can Bengi get away?
Bengi on a secret mission, trying to escape. They find him. He is dead to rights here. Maybe he can suicide into a turret. They want to give this kill to Trace, and there is the Chilling Smite, but they're,
He hasn't actually taken any damage at all. This is very awkward.
No, he got hit by a Chilling Smite.
That's true.
But he still, I thought he did.
No, he Chilling Smited the Gragas. Didn't take any damage at all, and hence the awkward nature of his death.
That was a teleport burn for that. Definitely not an optimal use of that summoner spell. Well, this is awkward. Faker is 3-0-1, his same score as last game in total, except he's Rise, and it's 12 minutes into this game. Kuzan just going to bring him back around. Chaser's here. Can they kill Faker? Wolf also is going to have to back off of that one. Will he get hooked? Yes, he will. Actually, Jin Air going to turn this into a couple. Kuzan with the pickup.
Hard to say why Wolfers didn't even have Slicing Maelstrom available. Had already used it previously. Still level 6, though. Kuzan with the Azir Sec play gets that kill onto Faker. At least something cause of optimism in the mid lane.
And they get the turret. So Faker goes down, gives up a lot of gold with that shutdown.
Crucially, Monte Cristo, taking down GBM's turret at, what, 14 minutes into game 1? GBM was a non-factor, and Faker played smartly around that. Kuzan this time takes down Faker's turret early. Rise not known for his counter-pushing, so they can try and exert control. They certainly got the wave control on bottom, as they're even just choosing to leave this turret up and force Bang to continue what has been a horror laning phase for him.
Well, they want to just build up a wave to push through right now so that they can get the dragon right as it spawns. Kuzan had time to shop. Bengi wants to get a flank. They have pings going down. They see Bengi with the pink ward. Vision over dragon complete for Jin Air. So they're trying to fight their way back into this game. They find themselves with a gold lead after the turret kill, but they don't have necessarily the presence on the dragon, and they don't have TP.
Oh, Dragon's already down to 2,000 health. It's going to be very difficult for Jin Air to contest. This nice poke damage from Kuzan. They're going to engage. Eve does pick up the dragon. Ultimate use, and here comes Kuzan.
And Chaser also isolating Wolf. Jack with the Sivir ultimate. There is a great explosive cascade equalizer. Bang's going to fall. A triple kill for Kuzan. And that is a powered up Azir. Now for Jin Air, how can they fast push this? Trace still on the HUD, going to actually flash. There's the he's going to back off as he overheats, and you see the teleport come in from Marin. Kuzan keeping him at bay. Chaser there as well. Marin in a world of hurt between 3 Jin Air members as he tries to save Faker. Faker can't make the play. Unnecessary sacrifice, and now Jin Air doing well.
A really poor teleport coming through from Marin. Should have canceled it. Faker should have called him away. Didn't have mana. Was at half health as that engage was happening. 4 kills for a dragon. Jin Air, well, they'll definitely take that.
Yeah. But, has to be said, SKT, lots of power in the late game. They still can come back in this. The 2.5K gold differential is not something that can't be overcome with their composition. But they have to play a little bit safer. They've given up a lot of unnecessary kills after responding very well to the dive in the top side. Teleporting back in, just Faker overextending, Wolf not being able to turn it around, and Kuzan has been the major beneficiary of all of that, moving to 4-1-2 on this Azir.
It's heartening to see Jin Air still playing good League of Legends, crucially in Game 2, because Monte Cristo, we've seen a lot of even Game 1s against these top teams like CJ, like KT, maybe at least for portions of Game 1, but Game 2s, they've been Master Yi time, they've been the stomps that we've been seeing. Jin Air, they're actually comfortably ahead at 15 minutes, 3K gold lead almost, 2,500 gold lead, and playing smartly around their power. We've seen multiple times down bottom, Sivir and Captain Jack and Che have just had the lane pushed in, and playing around that has brought some advantages for Jin Air.
And Tristana. In terms of advantages on the other side for SKT, where is the fast push? Maybe it's going to come in now. Maybe they can trade tier 1 for tier 1. They will be able to. Look at that damage.
Just haven't had the free time. This lane has been torn apart by the Sivir Nautilus duo, and these are the 2 champions that Jin Air have been playing so regularly. These are the sort of champions we thought would be targeted by bans by SKT. But left open, you can see the power of Captain Jack and Che, and it's crucial that when this duo came into the lineup, that's when fortune started to change for Jin Air.
That's annoying. Marin going to go in. Wolf there with the follow-up. Faker starting to move up into the top side. Jin Air wants to back off. They will do so with a flash and an on the hunt. Trace actually canceled his TP.
Okay. So draw out that TP summoner. He'll have to walk over for the next dragon because he will not have the summoner available.
So Jin Air right now, they've got to do the fast push. There's very little wave clear on SK Telecom. Faker going to have to get pretty close and pop his ultimate if he wants to do that. Of course, Maokai not going to offer much, and Tristana does need some time and some auto attacks to clear waves with the explosive shot. So when you have this Azir and the Sivir, and you could just clear minion waves faster, it's time to set up on these tier 2s. It's time to get the Azir passive turret behind you and really, really commit to pressure and try and snowball off of the towers when you already have a gold lead.
Having the outer ring of turrets down does require some minion waves to be prepped to try and cause some global minion pressure, so that's what we're probably going to be seeing from Captain Jack in the bottom lane. Faker's rotated himself to pick up the farm, because of course he did. We saw the previous game. It's what he loves to do. But yeah, if they can prep some minion waves, they have very good turret damage. They don't necessarily have a lot of range, though. Kuzan, excellent for the disengage, though. Let's see if they can try and set up one of these scenarios where they can get safe turret damage.
Here we go. Like clockwork coming in. They want to get it. Bang, actually, big poke. You can't say Kuzan doesn't have a lot of items. So they're going to try and gang Trace at the top side. He will just die. And that is a major problem, because now that siege is going to be stymied to a certain degree because it is a 4v5.
They have a small window when this minion wave comes in of 4v2 with low wave clear. Can Kuzan zone them away? They're going to get at least chip damage onto this turret. Of course, remember, they do have the sun turret behind them, but not a significant amount of turret damage put down.
No, and that ultimate from Faker very quickly clearing out the mid wave. So Trace's death there actually costing them a little bit because they couldn't simultaneously advance the wave in the top side while applying the mid pressure with 4 members. So that's a big time window that has been avoided by SKT. It's going to take a while before Kuzan has the passive to make that move again.
It's been a long time since I've seen a team have such vision control over SKT. Look at Jin Air's wards around the blue side area, around Dragon. They have excellent ward coverage. Some of them starting to be cleared, some answering wards coming through from SKT. But Jin Air have set up excellently for the Dragon, which spawns in 40 seconds time.
Can they make it work, though? Chaser is on the top side, so not an ideal position, but they're anticipating this gank already. Bengi's there. Marin's there. Can they turn around? Here comes Bengi. They know he's coming in. Chilling Smite down onto Trace. Equalizer drops immediately. Marin in a bit of trouble. Marin also has a lot of MR right now. There's the overheat. They want this damage. Explosive cast for the disengaged Chaser on the ropes. Turns the heat onto Bengi. There he goes, but Wolf joins the fray. Trace goes down. Chaser's going to go down. But does that mean that the Dragon goes to Jin Air? And there's a double kill for Marin as he just gets tankier and tankier and tankier.
Ryze chasing down Sivir in the bottom lane, already forced out the ultimate. In fact, Ghost used as well. Will they try and re-engage? Kuzan can jump over this cove.
Okay, there we go. Depth charge. Faker's knocked up, straight into a hook. Captain Jack with a lot of autos, and Faker will die on this Ryze. The fight over Dragon continues. Both top laners have TP if this fight continues.
Don't face check. The Tristano has to walk away, so should be able to clear out this pink ward. The chip damage onto Bang is immense from Kuzan. Even though he's not in Abyssal Scepter range, he's taking so much damage.
And he doesn't have that sustain yet, just the Doran's Blade to get it back. So Jin Air takes position on the Dragon. They're going to take number 2 here in what is turning out to be an extremely close game.
What we were hoping for from game 1 before Faker decided to play basketball with his own ball.
Now, you know, I've seen this before, Papa Smithy.
Can I see the replay? This was Flash.
Nice spell shield.
And Ghost use, but spell shield mechanics is something that Captain Jack was always well known for. And the moment that the dredge line registered, you knew this was going to be a definite kill for Jin Air with no summoners on Faker.
Yeah, just the constant CC from Nautilus. Easy lockdown onto Ryze. So, I've seen this before, Papa Smithy. I've seen close games with SKT. I saw KT play one in their first match earlier this week. But then SKT comes out, they win one team fight, they take Baron, and the game is over. So
and there's always that chance. It's those teams that are assertive around taking Barons. EDG, of course, were famous for this both last season and towards the start of this season. SKT have been excellent in parlaying any sort of pick, sometimes only one pick onto the jungler, into a Baron at 23 to 26 minutes. That risk always exists, but the item timings from Jin Air are good. Specifically Kuzan, we wondered, how would he perform in a high-pressured environment after watching one of his fellow mid-lane rookies in Edge really suffer in Series 1? 4-1 and 3, certainly not overawed in mid.
Yeah, well, Bengi gonna find Chaser here as some deep wards are placed by Jin Air. They can't clear the pink, though. Trace playing very far back, trying to get that farm up. He's had a rough time this game. Has had to go just for a full Magic Pen build because of Marin's early cowl, which actually, that early cowl has turned around a lot with Chaser and Rumble on the Gragas, or the Gragas and Rumble tag teaming on these ganks, and now we see this again.
Teleport's coming in actually behind. No, cancelled by the Maokai. Okay, that's teleport cancelled by both top lanes.
Yeah, good reaction though. Trying to fall back to that turret. So the pressure will continue. This is Jin Air's chance to shine. They need a larger gold lead to combat SK Telecom in the late game, that is for sure. The
efficiency of the void stuff is actually looking wonderful given that Locket, multiple magic resist, I believe it's both a Negatron cloak on Faker, And Magic just stacking on Marin's actually a very good item. Bengi's caught trying to do some sort of
flash.
flank.
And he's overheated. That Agony's Embrace has to be used. That is a key engage tool missing now from SKT.
Yeah, Bang tried to walk up and use the ultimate to maybe save the Agony's Embrace. Okay, the Sun turret runs out. Crucial that Equalizer is still available for Jin Air.
I wish we had seen this Jin Air last game, Papa Smithy. The one that we know is measured, has good shot calling, that doesn't have to rely on these wacky picks, because when we see them play meta, they're so good.
Chase's champion pool, I guess, is the only thing to consider. He needed to pick an early pressure jungler, didn't want to go for the Lee Sin that seemed to be begging. Went for the Rengar and just all went sideways from there. Marin's really scrapping aggressively. This is prime area for an Equalizer.
And Marin just doesn't have the armor yet to make those kind of plays onto Captain Jack.
But why? They're fighting in prime Equalizer territory. They know that cooldown's up. Do they really need to be scrapping for the red buff in what is a close-knit game?
Yeah, absolutely not, especially when they didn't have the vision there. Che was the one who actually managed to get the red buff in the end, but that denial definitely not worth it. They're going to lose a tier 2.
100%. Che can just walk up and tank it. Of course, the turret damage is good, if a bit riskier from 500 range from Captain Jack. Can't also turn this into another objective, but certainly in the ascendancy in game 2, even at 24 minutes, are Jin Air Greenwings.
Yeah, they have that edge for the moment. They're playing well in the lanes. SK Telecom needs to find a way back into this game. They got some nice shutdown on the Trace in the top lane, but because he's on that Rumble, he still remains relevant even with very few items, and the fact that he's fallen behind in farm.
The power spikes are about to hit for Rise. It just hits 10 stack Rod of Ages. Actually, Ceres completes as well, so 24 minutes suddenly gains a massive burst of power, both in terms of durability and just damage with the AP scaling from the Rod of Ages.
Yeah, and his counterpart Kuzan still working on the pieces of the death cap here.
Not opting into a Zonia, so maybe less Azir-Sec players, but certainly going to be doing crazy damage. And we've already seen a couple of Sand Soldier autos to Bang, and he's zoned out of a fight.
And Bang's Tristana has not been quite as impressive as I had hoped it would be in terms of providing pressure on the map.
I've got to say, Tristana as a pick, up there with Echo, and on paper offering so much. You can even see as an analyst the win conditions where it would do so well, but when it comes to actually translating into champions victories, few and far between.
Yeah, it's not been particularly effective in practice as we would have thought in theory. That is true. Okay, so SKT gonna, oh, goodbye, Trace.
It's a pick and it's 26 minutes. Will they try and take the Baron? Because there's still a lot of power left and the teleport available for Trace in 30 seconds.
I don't think so. I think you just are happy with the advantage you got right there. The fact that you have delayed so much in this game. You probably haven't delayed that dragon right now, but maybe you can pick up a TP for it, and you're going to be able to push the side waves back out and put more pressure onto Jin Air. So, very important kill there. Trace face checking, and SKT sitting in that vision hole right in front of that Baron, making use of the surprise gank from the Black. Faker goes back. He's going to upgrade the Distortion enchantment next.
Ghost Flash going to be available that much more often. Crucially, doesn't have his Flash for another 4 minutes, so he's going to be catchable, but with all his durability, implied and otherwise, with both his passive and his Seraph's Embrace, still massively powerful.
So, blue buff right before the fight for Faker. Unless it gets stolen away, which it will not. Faker using that shield to tank out the damage. Grab to Jin Air.
Will be the third dragon if they could pick it up. We're waiting for Marin to go for his home guard teleport. Does he have a suitable ward? He does, just behind Trace.
They see it coming in, though. Jin Air disengages. They turn on to Marin immediately. There is a whole horde of Sand Soldiers. Wolf with the secondary engage. Marin goes down, though. Now we see a lot of damage going onto Wolf. However, Bengi sneaks in and takes the dragon. Will this cost them a Baron, though? Jin Air turns onto that objective next.
That's definitely the most straightforward objective for them to pick up. Remember, there's a lot of damage still available, and of course the Agony's Embrace. Pink ward being cleared or not cleared? No, it is cleared. Changes aggro between the two. This is risky. Marin doesn't have teleport, so it will be a true 3v5.
It would be. There's Bengi, gets chunked out by the Sand Soldiers. Deftly moved there by Kuzan. Kuzan, Trace comes through. Bengi has to retreat. That's going to be enough. Faker's going to have to be a hero here if he wants to stop this, and he decides, I might as well be a hero another time.
So SKT made the smart move to just rush down the Dragon, knowing that they would pay for it with a single kill, but the second kill opened up an easy Baron attempt from Jin Air. Smart move from Trace, using the flash to completely chase away Evelyn, who was only in flash smite, then die in the AoE range. Bang pushes down a outer turret, but the Baron buff could be what is required for Jin Air to finally break the base.
Yeah, you have to believe that that is likely going to be true. Bang with the static shiv now, so he has more wave clear. And SKT broke up, played nice defense, got the waves all pushing at their side after deciding not to commit to that Baron. So it's going to be a while before Jin Air can actually pressure any kind of inhibitor turret here. They bought themselves a bit of some breathing room, but that is it.
Sweeper comes through. They spot Faker, who is just looking for a cheeky pick at someone trying to push up the side wave solo. Maybe just the outer turret's going to be the safer objective. Breaking the base is definitely what you want to do during the 3-minute duration of Baron. But for now, with the side minion wave so out of whack, very difficult to pull off.
Faker actually taking the Gromp right there from over the wall. And now Jin Air, they have the bottom minion wave in prime position. They're moving forward. They want to take the remaining tier 2s. Going to get one for free. No possible defense there from SK Telecom unless they wanted to seriously invest in an engage.
I mean, you mess up an engage, 1 or 2 members die, you at minimum lose your inhibitor, so it's not worth it. The risk reward certainly isn't there. You need to opt into smart decisions. That has been SKT's playbook this whole season, is making the informed decision wherever possible.
So here you go. Che getting the necessary wards down to make sure they know who is going to be behind that turret and that they can threaten anyone who wants to defend.
SKT pushing aggressively into mid, completely out of position. Jin Air, when it comes to respond to this push, they're actually not really achieving much of anything,
Wow.
and Bang's getting free time. This is what Tristana does best. This is the reason that teams are experimenting with the pick, but here's the engage.
Now they're all in a choke though. Faker's there. Faker gets knocked around with the explosive cast. Equalizer goes down, but here comes Faker. He's on to Chaser by himself. How much damage can he get done? Marin trapped behind the Azir ultimate. Bengi still on the run. Bengi trying to escape. Chaser gonna finish him off with the body slam and an auto attack.
And opting into a choke sounds bad against the AoE damage Ryze can put out, but it's so much worse against Trace, who literally goes Equalizer-centric with the small amount of gold he's able to pick up. It's going to be an inhibitor turret threatened, but 20-second death timers for SKT.
Yeah, still very early in this game for
Baron
breaking
buff
the
wears
base.
off.
And no more Baron buff. But that said, no wave clear either from SKT, that they don't have to walk up very close to a dangerous Jin Air Green Wings. An inhibitor will be the prize that Jin Air earns from that last fight.
And backing away, just look at the wonderful vision Jin Air has been able to put around this blue side ever since, what, 15 minutes into the game. They have littered SKT's map with wards. Now they've even extended it to the red side jungle. There's few and far between flank wards open for Marin, and his teleport doesn't cool down for another 30 seconds.
Yeah, speaking of those flank wards too, that's been a strength of Jin Air, is clearing those or at least having pinks so that Evelyn can't engage upon them. If we look at the way Jin Air plays, they play very well in kiting. They play very good vision around their sides when they want to push up. And look at the number of wards, like you're saying, that are down on the map already. Jin Air, always a team that's been comfortable in sieges.
Was most impressed by Jin Air's play against CJ Entus, where with a poke comp, that of course was the Nidalee comp they were running, 4 warding totems and just warding every single crevice on the map. Opens up easy objective taking because you have so much advanced information, and this is the Captain Jack special. Never really opts into the scrying or improved warding totem has been his way.
Well, I think that's actually more valuable in this situation when you're worried about those flanks from Marin and from Bengi and you are confident in your ability to kite them out, which you should be, because if you don't have that engage, Faker is going to have a really hard time getting onto you to deal the damage, so you don't necessarily need that. And also, we've discussed this before, but since SK Telecom only has one lens and it isn't upgraded, how are they sweeping out the sheer volume of wards with double Sightstone and 3 totems, upgraded totems, that Jin Air is going to be able to place? You can't get rid of all the wards. You just can't.
Yeah, everyone that doesn't opt into a Sightstone just picks up an effective Sightstone with the Greater Warding Totem. Faker almost gets picked. They try to come back onto Che, but a big fight is brewing.
Yeah, Che gets picked for free right there. Marin, he's trying to clean this one up. Captain Jack dealing what damage he can, but it's not a whole lot to Maokai at this stage. Dragon is live. They want to poke. They want to get these Sand Soldiers forward, but SKT gets a very important fight. And there's the Aghanis's Embrace. They may have gone too far. Bengi trying to clean up Faker on the outside. Gets a Rune Prison on Drace. Equalizer's drop, but it's not doing much. Faker's just going to be able to clean this up. Faker is getting a huge AoE. Faker is going to get a triple kill as they turn it around. A perfect ace for SK Telecom. And now they're going just to chew through these turrets. Can they win the game with this Tristana?
They're pushing against the super minions, but it might not matter. The Tristana does so much turret damage. Remember, explosive shot lowers the cooldown of the rapid fire, and then some 20 seconds on these death timers, and only Che to protect.
And here we go. Che's going to do his best to keep them off the towers, but it's not much. They have the minion wave. This is going to be a win. All of a sudden for SK Telecom, there is nothing that they can do as Bengi kills Che. 4 seconds left. 3, 2, 1. It is not enough. That is it. SK Telecom 2-0. What a comeback.
SK Telecom pickpocket a win that Jin Air had right in front of their noses. Disgusting if you're a Jin Air fan. They had everything going for them. One pick onto Che, a little bit too aggressive with their positioning, and Faker wiped them to the floor.
I can't believe it. I cannot believe it. SK Telecom goes undefeated in terms of best of threes. That is number 16 in a row. Back-to-back round robins from the second in spring to the first now. A tough loss for Jin Air. You can see they hung in there so long. They had the advantage. But SKT, a team that is so decisive. You make that one mistake, you go down that one time, and SKT punishes to the maximum possible degree.
And the only teams to take away a win from SKT are teams that we don't even expect to be competing in the playoffs. It's only Anarchy and Samsung. SKT sweeping all the